I always enjoyed spending evenings at home, savoring the silence and coziness, but one day I realized that peace and solitude can turn into a real nightmare. It was last November. I had just moved into a new house on the outskirts of a small town. The house was old, with a rich history, and that was what attracted me. I always dreamed of living in a place where everything had its own story. That evening, I decided to have a cozy night with a book. It was raining outside, and I enjoyed the sound of raindrops hitting the roof. Suddenly, I heard a strange creak. It was the sound of old wooden floorboards, as if someone was quietly walking through the house. At first, I thought it was just the wind rattling the shutters or the roof settling under the weight of the rain. I continued reading, trying to ignore the sounds. But soon I heard the creak again, this time closer. I stood up, took a flashlight, and went to explore the house. The hallway was dark, the light had gone out, and I had to feel my way. I reached the stairs leading to the attic. The creak was definitely coming from there. Gathering all my courage, I started climbing. The stairs creaked under my weight, and each step echoed in the darkness. When I reached the top, the flashlight's beam revealed dusty beams and old trunks. The attic seemed empty. I looked around but found nothing unusual. Deciding that the sounds were indeed caused by the wind, I went back downstairs. But as soon as I sat back down with my book, I heard something that made me freeze. It was a quiet, prolonged moan coming from deep within the house. I felt my heart beat faster. The moan repeated, and I realized it was coming from the basement. I had never been in the basement because I had only recently found the key and hadn't had a chance to explore it yet. Grabbing the keys and the flashlight, I descended the steps. The basement door was old and creaky. I inserted the key into the lock and turned it. The lock gave way with difficulty, and the door opened, releasing the smell of dampness and mold. I shone the flashlight into the dark passage and started descending. With each step, I felt more anxious. It was cold and damp down there. The walls were covered in mold, and the floor was littered with old, rotten boards. In the far corner of the basement, I noticed something strange, an old wardrobe covered in dust and cobwebs. As I got closer, I saw that the wardrobe door was slightly ajar. I reached out to open it wider, and suddenly felt something or someone grab my hand. I screamed and pulled my hand back, feeling the chill run through me. A quiet whisper came from the wardrobe. I couldn't make out the words, but it felt like someone was calling my name. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. The flashlight slipped from my hand and rolled across the floor, leaving me in complete darkness. Struggling to contain my panic, I bent down to pick up the flashlight and suddenly felt someone breathing down my neck. I turned sharply, but saw no one. Yet the feeling of presence didn't leave me. Gathering all my courage, I opened the wardrobe door again. Inside were old clothes hanging on hangers and several shelves filled with dusty boxes. I shone the flashlight around, trying not to miss anything suspicious. And then I noticed something strange. On one of the shelves lay a book, clearly out of place among the other items. It looked new, as if it had been put there recently. I took the book in my hands and opened it. On the first page was an inscription, "Do not read aloud." I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead. Trying to stay calm, I turned a few pages and saw that the text was written in a language unknown to me. The words were strange, and just looking at them made me uneasy. And then I heard a voice. It came from the wardrobe, repeating,
"Do not read aloud, do not read aloud."
I froze, feeling a shiver run down my spine. I closed the book and wanted to put it back, but the voice grew louder, and suddenly the wardrobe door slammed shut with a deafening bang. In a panic, I rushed to the basement exit. The steps creaked and cracked under my feet as if they were about to collapse. I burst into the hallway and slammed the basement door shut behind me. It seemed I could hear someone knocking and scratching from inside. I blocked the door with furniture and sat on the floor, trying to calm down. My heart was pounding, and the eerie voice still echoed in my ears. I knew I had to leave this house as soon as possible. In the morning, without waiting for dawn, I packed my things and left. The house remained empty and abandoned. I tried to forget what had happened, but the fear and sense of unease never left me. Recently, I learned that the house had been demolished, and a new residential complex was built in its place. But sometimes, passing by that place, I hear a quiet whisper calling my name.